Hopscotch is one of the influential novels in Latin America after the Second World War. Cortazar writes in the table of instructions that this book consists of many books, but above all, two books. The volume has 155 chapters. The book can be read from the beginning to chapter 56, or he proposes to begin with chapter 73. The first section is titled From the Other Side, and the second is titled From the Diverse Sides. Hopscotch is an account of the misadventures of Horacio Oliveira, a discontent Argentinian intellectual in his 40s. He wanders in Paris with his mistress La Maga and a band of bohemian cohorts. However, a sequence of personal tragedies and mistakes send him back to Buenos Aires. There he encounters greater tests in the company of his childhood friend Traveler. Hopscotch is a story of a creative soul thwarted by an inability to act. The story opens with Horatio searching the bridges of Paris for his mistress La Maga, who has disappeared. He spends much of his time in Snake Club with his friends who were intellectuals and failed artists like himself with a strong liking for jazz, art, metaphysics, and self-indulgence. However, the time spent with them did not offer him peace. Haunted by time and memory, he is unable to reconcile with his past and present. Horatio lives in a small flat with La Maga, but the relationship strains when her child comes to live with him. After much distress, he begins an affair with a wealthy Parisian Paula and convinces himself that La Maga is sleeping with Osip, another member of the club. Eventually, he walks out of La Maga. After a long walk, he sees an elderly writer struck by a car. Horatio returns home to find the entire club there. Later that night, Rocamador, the child of La Maga, dies. Soon La Maga disappears. Horatio and his friend visit the old man who was struck by a car. He is morally an iconoclastic writer and literary critic, a beloved member of the Serpent Club. That night, the club goes to Morelli's flat to assemble his work, a novel that can be read in any order. There, Babs, another member of the club, attacks Horatio for what he did to La Maga. When the club disbands, he retreats to a bridge. There he meets a homeless woman, Emmanuel, and they have sex, but interrupted by the police. The police arrests both of them. Horatio returns to Argentina. He meets his old friend, Traveler, a worker at a circus. Traveler is married to a former pharmacist, Talita. He begins work as a traveling garbage salesman and moves in with an old girlfriend in the same hotel as Traveler. Horatio spends time with them to observe their seemingly happy marriage. Traveler gets Horatio a job in the circus. The strong friendship between Horatio and Traveler begins to put a strain on Traveler's marriage. Talita begins to suspect a romantic tension growing between her and Horatio. Eventually, the owner of the circus sells it to buy a mental asylum. Traveler, Talita, and Horatio all move to the hospital to begin new jobs. Here, Horatio begins to confuse Talita with La Maga. One night, he sees her playing hopscotch in the courtyard, a game that has come to represent for him his search for an unattainable contentment. He talks to her about La Maga, and the pity she shows for him moves him to kiss her. The next morning, Traveler goes to his room to talk to him. Horatio threatens to kill himself, causing a commotion in the hospital. Traveler talks to Horatio about their relationship and his mental stability. But Horatio jumps but survives. In the end, all three employees are fired from the hospital.